Germany, geographically at the center of Europe, has a rich and varied history. The country has transitioned from an empire to a republic, then experienced a period of fascist dictatorship, and eventually returned to being a unified republic. Throughout these changes, Germany has always been central to Europe, both geographically and in terms of its political influence. The formation of the German Empire in 1871 marked a pivotal moment in German history. However, what if the nation's path to unification took a different turn? What if, instead of forging an empire, Germany united under the banner of a republic? During the late 1840s, Europe found itself in the midst of a period of intense upheaval as revolutions unfolded across the continent. The revolutionary fervor was not limited to any single country, but was felt across Europe, marking a period of significant social, political, and economic upheaval. The events of this era would have lasting impacts on the future direction of European societies. The revolutions within Germany played a crucial role in shaping the nation's current flag. While most revolutionaries favored a constitutional monarchy, a small contingent, including Friedrich Hecker, advocated for a republican form of government. These differing viewpoints on governance reflected the diverse political beliefs held by various factions during the revolutionary period. In this alternate timeline, the liberals and radicals put aside their differences and joined forces. They successfully negotiated a compromise, resulting in the liberals securing universal suffrage and a strong parliamentary system. The radicals achieved their goal of establishing Germany as a republic, and they both agreed on gradual reforms. Moreover, the Prussian army experienced fracture, and parts of it defected, possibly due to leadership issues or discontent with the regime. In this timeline, the Prussian king, Frederick William IV, made a grave mistake by rejecting the reforms too early and ordering a violent crackdown. The revolutionaries were victorious, and a revolutionary government was swiftly established. Inspired by the Frankfurt Parliament's declaration, the Prussian Republic came into existence in 1850, marking the beginning of a new era in German history. This shift in power initiated a period of change and transformation as the country moved away from its monarchical past and embraced the principles of the Republic. The formation of the Prussian Republic was met with disapproval from both Russia and Austria-Hungary. Despite tensions, a direct conflict did not immediately emerge between the three nations. The transition of the Kingdom of Prussia into a republic in 1850 occurred due to the defection of certain portions of the Prussian army. The new regime inherited a certain level of legitimacy from these defecting officers, but the newly formed Prussian army still struggles with internal divisions. The officer corps, steeped in traditional values and some still favoring monarchy, harbors tensions within the ranks. Despite their reservations about the Republic, the majority of the officer corps refrains from rebellion as they prioritize the stability of the state over their personal political preferences. In this alternate history, Otto von Bismarck's staunchly conservative and monarchist views prevent his rise to the Chancellor of the new Prussian Republic. Instead, Bismarck chooses to retire from public life and settles into a life as a landholder. He channels his energies into writing anti-republican books, using his pen as a platform to propagate his traditionalist ideologies and critique the principles of the new regime. To prevent any potential military rebellion, the newly formed Prussian Republic implements several reforms aimed at strengthening the German army. These reforms include promotion based on merit, ideological filtering to ensure ideological alignment, and early indoctrination to foster a strong sense of national identity among the troops. These initiatives aim to curb any monarchist sentiments or internal dissent within the officer corps and create a unified and loyal German military force. The North German Confederation still comes into being due to Prussia's victory in the Austro-Prussian War. Following this development, the Franco-Prussian War still unfolds, motivated by France's desire to hinder a powerful and unified Germany, even under a republican regime. The conflict unfolds border dispute, culminating in Germany eventually acquiring the region of Alsace-Lorraine. In the year 871, the Federal German Republic is formally proclaimed, marking the culmination of the process of German unification. The new nation is established as a federal parliamentary republic, with a system of governance that balances the representation of both the federal government and individual states within the nation. While Germany still engages in colonization efforts in Africa, the scope is different. While Namibia remains uncolonized, Germany successfully establishes control over Togo, Cameroon, and the coastal regions of Tanzania. This selective and reduced approach to colonization reflects a more strategic and limited expansionist approach by the German government. The Federal German Republic experiences rapid economic development between the years of 1871 and 1910 due to a combination of factors such as industrialization, the dominance of heavy engineering, and a strong focus on education and scientific advancement. In contrast to some historical counterparts, Germany's economy in this timeline becomes less dependent on arms manufacturing and instead embraces a more balanced approach, combining both exports and innovation in its economic strategy. The Social Democrats (SPD) gained legal recognition earlier and emerged as the most left-leaning political party in Germany. Labor unions experienced increased strength and influence earlier than in our timeline. Regional tensions exist, including notable ones between Bavaria, Prussia, and the Rhineland, but these differences are addressed and managed through parliamentary debate and compromise rather than through repression. By the early 900s, Germany's industrial prowess has reached parity with Britain, positioning it as a prominent economic powerhouse within Europe. In this alternate history, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 still serves as the catalyst for World War I. However, the geopolitical alliances are different. The Federal Republic of Germany remains neutral due to its republican structure and avoids allying with Austria-Hungary, which retains its monarchy. This divergence in alliances adds a unique layer to the geopolitical landscape. Austria-Hungary initiates hostilities against Serbia, prompting Russia to declare war as a means of protecting their Serbian allies. However, Germany, not having an established alliance with Austria-Hungary, refrains from entering the conflict with Russia, ensuring that the two countries do not find themselves at war against one another. France declares war against Austria-Hungary, while Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire join the conflict in support of Austria-Hungary. This chain of reactions highlights the complex and expanding web of alliances that are formed during the early stages of World War I, with various nations aligning themselves on different sides depending on their interests and affiliations. Without Germany's involvement in this timeline, it alters the course of World War I significantly. In this alternate history, World War I transforms into a regional conflict rather than a global war. The Central Powers now comprise the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, now pitted against an alliance of France, Italy, Russia, Montenegro, Serbia, Greece, and Romania. The outcome of World War I unfolds with several significant events. Austro-Hungary collapses, followed by the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and subsequent occupation of Bulgaria by Allied forces. In this timeline, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Germany opted to remain neutral during the war, thereby avoiding direct involvement. Given that Germany did not participate in the conflict, a Versailles-style treaty with its associated economic reparations and territorial concessions is not applicable in this case. In this alternate history, the Russian Tsarist regime still collapses, and the country finds itself under the rule of a Menshevik socialist government. In this alternate history, the United States of America does not emerge as a global superpower due to its avoidance of involvement in both World War I and World War II. This absence of participation on the global stage significantly alters the international balance of power, with far-reaching consequences for the geopolitical landscape. The United States adopts a more assertive stance, primarily focusing on the affairs of the Americas rather than wielding a global influence. The formation of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization (NATO) does not occur, resulting in a different alignment of nations in the region. Additionally, anti-German sentiment is notably weaker in the United States compared to our timeline. Although the United States' trajectory may not be drastically different from our own, the absence of NATO and reduced anti-German sentiment still introduce significant divergences in the global landscape. In this timeline, two key events still unfold similarly to our timeline's history: the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and the UK's colonization of Palestine following the Balfour Declaration of 1917. The Great Depression still transpires, but the Treaty of Versailles does not impose significant reparations on Germany. Consequently, Germany experiences a period of economic hardship, but the Social Democrats gain political influence and manage to stabilize the economy. With Germany not facing harsh economic sanctions, Hitler and the Nazi Party do not gain power, leading to the prevention of the Holocaust and the absence of World War II in Europe. In this timeline, with no Holocaust and the absence of Nazism in Germany, there is reduced support for the Zionist movement. Without massive Jewish immigration to Palestine, the British Mandate of Palestine extends its duration as there is no international push for decolonization. Following a prolonged period of British rule, Palestine eventually gains independence, founding the Republic of Palestine. This alternative timeline sees the emergence of a sovereign Palestine but no establishment of Israel, thereby altering the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. Thank you for watching this video. If you found the content valuable, please show your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Peace, and hope to see you in the next video.